Welcome to another SideQuest podcast, a detour worth taking. I'm AJ, and today we are going full cyberpunk.
Full cyberpunk, like trench coats, green rain, there is no spoon, cyberpunk.
And here's the thing nobody really talks about. The Matrix might never have existed if a couple of filmmakers hadn't walked into a studio meeting with a VHS tape.
A VHS tape in a boardroom to pitch one of the most influential movies ever made.
The Wachowskis literally showed Warner Brothers executives Ghost in the Shell, the 1995 Mamoru Oshii anime, and said, "We want to do that, but live action."
I think about this constantly. Like, some executive in a suit sat in a dark room watching Ghost in the Shell on VHS and had to decide whether to fund a $100 million movie based on that pitch.
And they said yes, which is, honestly, one of the most unhinged business decisions in Hollywood history, and I mean that as the highest possible compliment.
The highest. Absolute legends, all of them.
Okay, we're digging into all of it today. The blueprint, the borrow, the brilliance. Let's go. So for anyone who hasn't seen Ghost in the Shell, and first of all, we'll get to that, it's a 1995 anime film set in a future where humans and machines are so blurred together that identity itself becomes the central question. Major Motoko Kusanagi is a cyborg government agent hunting a hacker called the Puppet Master, and the whole film is just dense, philosophically dense.
Dense is the word. It's not a casual watch. You sit with it.
But visually, it was doing things nobody had done before. And the Wachowskis saw that, clocked exactly what they needed, and basically used it as a reference document.
Not even subtly. They've said it themselves in interviews. Ghost in the Shell was the visual template for The Matrix. That's not a fan theory, that's just what happened.
Which honestly makes me love The Matrix more, not less. Knowing there's this lineage, this direct artistic handoff from Oshii to the Wachowskis, it adds a whole layer.
It's like finding out your favorite song sampled something incredible. You don't like it less. You just have more to love now.
Exactly. Okay, segment time. Let's get specific. This is embarrassing, but so let's break down the actual visual borrowing because it's specific. It's not vague vibes. There are direct shots and design choices that travel from Ghost in the Shell straight into The Matrix.
Start with the rain. The iconic opening of Ghost in the Shell, city at night, rain, neon reflections, that atmosphere is The Matrix.
Right, and then there's the green. The digital green rain in The Matrix, that cascading code. It's a direct visual callback to the opening credits of Ghost in the Shell, which has this gorgeous sequence of code assembling into a body. Green tones, falling data, the sense that reality is just constructed information.
It's the same metaphor rendered two different ways. Oshii renders it as a body being built from code. The Wachowskis render it as the world dissolving back into code. It's the same idea from opposite ends.
That's actually a really clean way to put it. And then there's the neck ports, the back of the neck hardware interface that Major has in Ghost in the Shell. The Matrix takes that and makes it the literal mechanism of the entire plot. Every human plugged into the simulation has that port.
Okay, hear me out. It's such a specific design choice. Like, why the neck? It could have been anywhere. But both films independently land on the neck as the point where the human and the machine connect. And that's not a coincidence.
It's not a coincidence at all. And then, the rooftop shots. Ghost in the Shell has this incredible sequence where Major is on a rooftop. There's a standoff. The camera does this slow orbital pan around the action.
Bullet time! You're describing bullet time before bullet time existed.
Basically, the Wachowskis watched that and thought, what if we could do that and actually freeze the moment? What if the camera could move through a space that physics had paused? And they built an entirely new film technique to answer that question.
An entire new film technique. From an anime. From a VHS tape in a boardroom. The pipeline is insane when you lay it out like that.
And it gets better. Because Oshii wasn't even the only influence. The Wachowskis were pulling from Mobius, from William Gibson, from cyberpunk literature going back decades. But Ghost in the Shell was the one they pointed to in that room and said, this specific thing.
Because it had done the impossible. It took heady philosophy, consciousness, identity, what makes you real, and made it visceral, made it feel like action, like a chase, like stakes.
And that's exactly what The Matrix needed to be. It couldn't just be a cool action movie. It had to mean something. And Ghost in the Shell showed them that those two things, the spectacle and the philosophy, could live in the same frame.
I will never get over the fact that this exists as a documented, on-record, publicly acknowledged creative handoff between two of the most important sci-fi works ever made, and it still feels like a secret.
It really does. Okay, let's talk about what this means for anime's place in Hollywood, because this isn't a one-time thing. So here's the angle I want to push on. The Matrix isn't just a movie that borrowed from anime. It's the movie that proved anime's visual language could cross over at the highest level of mainstream filmmaking.
And Hollywood didn't fully absorb that lesson for 20 years.
Which is wild, because The Matrix came out in 1999, made over $400 million worldwide, won 4 Oscars, and the response from the industry was not, we should study anime more carefully. It was, we should make more movies like The Matrix.
Without understanding why The Matrix was The Matrix. That's the part that gets me every time.
They kept chasing the aesthetic without the source material, and Ghost in the Shell itself got a live-action remake in 2017 that just missed the entire point.
Completely missed it. The original is about the question of what makes you human when your body is mostly machine. The remake remembered to include the visual style and forgot to care about the question.
Style without substance, which is ironic because both Ghost in the Shell and The Matrix are fundamentally about the difference between surface and reality.
The irony. It's almost too on the nose.
It really is. But here's what I think matters. The fact that this handoff happened, and that it's documented, and that the Wachowskis have always been open about it, that's a model for how creative borrowing should work.
Because they didn't hide it. They cited it. They elevated the source. And Ghost in the Shell got a whole new generation of fans because of The Matrix.
Okay, that's the version of influence that actually moves culture forward. Not copying, continuing. Taking something and building the next floor on top of it.
And now we've got things like Cyberpunk Edgerunners, Blame, all this incredibly dense cyberpunk anime that exists in a lineage that runs through Ghost in the Shell, through The Matrix, back out into anime again. It's this beautiful loop.
A loop that started with one director, one vision, and one VHS tape in a boardroom.
One VHS tape! History!
Okay, before we get out of here, real quick, if any of this lit something up for you, the next thing you need to watch is Akira. 1988, directed by Katsuhiro Otomo, and it is genuinely one of the most visually stunning things ever committed to animation. Motorcycle chases, telekinetic destruction, a city tearing itself apart from the inside. It laid the groundwork for basically everything we talked about today, and if Ghost in the Shell is the philosophical blueprint, Akira is the raw energy that proved anime could go there in the first place. I give it a 5 out of 5. No notes, no caveats, just watch it.
Stop. 5 out of 5. No hesitation.
0 hesitation. That's it. That's the whole review.
Okay, but genuinely, today was so good. I love when a did you know fact turns into a whole meditation on how art works.
That's the whole reason we do this. A side quest that turns into the main story.
Every time.
This is embarrassing, but if you're watching on YouTube, hit subscribe, drop a comment. Tell us which came first for you, Ghost in the Shell or The Matrix, because I feel like that answer says a lot about a person.
It really does say a lot. Neither answer is wrong. One of them is just cooler.
We're another side quest podcast, a detour worth taking. We'll see you on the next one.